Hi, I'm John Clay. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Parenting the Clay Way. And with me, as always, my co-host Travis McCabe from Green Bean Coffee. Travis, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm curious, we want to talk about chores and allowance. Sometimes what comes first? You would hope the chores first, then you get the allowance. And I'm right in the process with 3 boys, 4, 6, and 8, of encouraging them to take on chores and to earn an allowance. And they want to be able to buy some things that, toys and such that they're interested in. I'm really excited about it. I always had an allowance, but I will say it was always $1 a week, pretty much my entire childhood. So it wasn't really effective in doing much more than a little candy. Curious about your thoughts of, we'll get into this a little more here, but chores and allowance.
Absolutely. It's extremely important. All of our kids work. So I think chores and allowances, it gives them that early work ethic, of like, here's an expectation, taking the garbage out, putting the dishes away or putting the dishes in a dishwasher. Things that that your child, depending on their age, are capable of doing, but it also gives them the gratifying idea that, I helped around the house. I did this. I did that. And allows them to take responsibility for it and be like, I'm pretty cool.
How did you deal with allowance? What was your process with that?
Sure. The big thing was, depending on the chore, if I felt it was, something that was like, hey, a little bit more tedious, like, hey, I need you to go mow the grass. I'm not going to be paying $1 for it. That's going to be, some backbreaking work. You're going to be putting some time in it. You're going to be doing that. I would end up paying like $10, $15, for it. But, that's $10, $15 they got in their pocket. They can go to the mall. They can hang out with friends. They can do this or do that, And honestly, the kids at our age, doing basic chores around the house, it's expected now. You are becoming older. You're almost a grown adult if you're not an adult. And, it shouldn't be our responsibilities to put the dishes away. If you're opening up and you see that there's still dishes in the dishwasher, take it upon yourself to put them away.
Yeah.
But that should have been ingrained in you a long time ago, doing the dishes and doing this and doing that. But it starts at a young age.
Yeah.
To get those habits and to get appreciated for doing them. And now it's like, hey, this is a part of my routine. I know what this happens whenever I do this and do that. That's it. Anything extra, yes, I'll pay you for.
There's an interesting aspect in that. For example, in my family, what we do is we definitely eat together at the table, and not all families do that, and it's understandable. But I've found that it's something that I grew up with, and I really want to hold that as long as I can and as much as I can. And then with regard to that, there's some basic polite things about not wearing a hat while you're eating, and then when you're done, you ask permission to leave and you clear your place. And that's what we're in the middle now of expecting. They don't always remember, so I have to remind. But that's, I think, where I'm starting with this idea of chores, of being able to put it into the dishwasher, clean the plate, just adding on to those items. It's going to take me a couple of months to get them continually doing this.
Right.
And unfortunately, you do have to harp on it for a while. But then using the carrot of, okay, you're going to earn, your allowance. And with regard to allowance, one thing that I found that I'm working with is I talk to the kids about what they think that this chore should earn and deserve. They'll actually tend to lowball it more than I would have. They'll say $0.25 because they don't really necessarily know the value of what $0.25 is. And I'd say, well, maybe we'll think about $1. How about that? And then you're the hero,
right? Because
you're willing to do that. But of course, that's not going to last very long when they start shopping and they know exactly what they get for their quarter. Did you find that you tended to wanted to pay per item or on a weekly thing?
Honestly, I did per item. I understand a lot of, the weekly basis, works great. Like, here's your chores every week, and it becomes ingrained into them. As long as these are done, you get your chores. You get your allowance, I should say.
Yeah.
With our kids, like I said, we're a blended family, so it's always been based upon of they're older now, so it's based on the specific. Here's this, I'll pay you for this and this and this. And like I said, our kids work now, so now they want to go to work. When can I go to work? Because I need money. I want to do this and do that, And not so much the chore-based things are done. My wife Katie, God love her, she took our dogs to the groomers. And they came back, and all the loose hair was stuck in her car. And she's like, guys, I'll pay you guys $25 to go clean the inside of my car.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and and it was funny. They're like, oh, yeah, and it's little things like that, but. It was just spur of the moment, extra quick money things they could do, which is the ironic thing is, I remember when I was younger, I would jump at those opportunities, whether it was mowing my neighbor's yard or raking leaves or something like that. Now it seems sometimes I feel like there's a struggle to find those.
I agree. I mean, I think the work ethic of young people is not what it used to be.
Right.
And it's probably our fault for not holding the bar high.
I agree.
And basically saying, look, this is the way it works. I mean, parenting these days is not the sort of the iron figure of what it used to be, of this is the way it is, like it or leave it kind of thing, and just like it's because I said so. We're so much more embracing of everyone's feelings and like making sure you're okay with everything.
Right.
That we don't tend to hold standards, I don't think, in my opinion, as high as we should usually, and have those expectations. We let kids get away with a lot more, in my opinion, and then that's making them more soft and not jumping too when it comes to, hey, yeah, I'm going to go out and earn money or whatever it is, and go do chores, and they're kind of like, I mean, obviously they would rather play video games.
Right, and I agreed to that. Even this past winter, my mom, she was stating, why can't I find anybody to come over and shovel my walk? And I'm like, I'll be over. And I'm like, no, I got 3 kids, so I sent them over. So it's one of those aspects. It's like, jump at the opportunities, whenever you have the ability to earn that extra cash. I did, and I'm not judging myself compared to anyone else, but my kids are growing up with a strong work ethic, where you put in the hard time, you get paid for your hard time. If you're gonna kind of slack off or do this or that, well, you're gonna get paid for what you did.
Yeah.
And the same thing, it starts with us as kids. Start with the chores. Hey, you cleaned your room, great. This and that. I want you to keep it clean. Fantastic. For you doing a great job, here's X amount for it. Let's see next week, and their kids, the room's going to be wrecked in an hour, clean up your room next week, here's that constant chore, then you add in the dishes, then you take out the garbage, and just those small things, for the fact that they can do around the house and, get paid for it. Then they'll want to do that extra stuff because they know at the end they're getting money validated for it.
Well, I think keeping a whiteboard with the tracking of what the chore is that they did and the money they earned for it, and then you could see a competition if you've got multiple kids that they're going to want to kind of stay in the same boat, and they'll know what it costs. And what I found too is giving them a target of what they're trying to save for, so that they can see how it's building towards the purchase of something.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Makes sense. They always want Legos or, like, say, costumes, and these things are expensive. You can't just, as a parent, say, okay, yeah, I'm buying this $40-$50 item for you all the time.
Right.
It's just not reasonable unless it's a gift for a present for an event.
Right.
What about requesting or asking your kids to use some of their money for savings or put it aside? Did you find any effectiveness in that and getting them to save?
Yes and no. A good friend of mine, Mike Hammer, he's actually pastor at Element Church. He does something that's pretty cool with his boys where, let's say they earn $1, and he will have like a percentage of whatever that is goes to savings. And then, obviously being a pastor, he said, whatever this other percentage would go towards the church or to the family or whatnot, and then whatever else is left after that is yours.
Yeah.
But one thing we've also done, Katie and I has done is, with chores, like, we'll pay you this amount and we'll hold the money for you. That way we know for a fact it's going into whatnot. It's just not there. You're not buying candy bars or this or that, because there are those times when you're out shopping and your kid will forget his debit card or he'll forget his wallet or whatnot. You're like, oh, I really like those pairs of shoes. I forgot my debit card or this or that. It's like, okay, well, we'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
This is how much it is.
Yeah.
This amount is now gone from your account or whatnot, you know. So I think there's different ways of doing it. But, I mean, for sure, getting ideas, starting to save early is extremely important.
Just putting, you hear stories about people who have bank accounts or that kind of like you might have a some sort of account that draws interest that was started when the child was 5-10 years old.
Yeah,
and it's,
absolutely.
I mean, by the time you're 60, you know, boy, that actually is going to have money in it.
Yeah.
And then when you have a bunch of those, and I think that just one thing I really haven't done yet, and I have to open savings accounts for the boys, and we're going to take what money you have set aside and go, you know, from your piggy bank, we're going to go deposit it and do that once a month or once every couple months.
Sure.
Even if it's just $5, because you're going to know what it feels like to deposit something and see that you have money that's growing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and even something, I mean, you know, piggybacking off that, you know, and it's just kind of just weird to say, and that I've even done it. But, you know, with my son, you know, like I said, we're a blended family. I ended up getting him a life insurance policy for himself. You know, it's a whole life policy, but as he pays into it, you know, and that's growing with him, you know, he's paying that flat rate, he's able to draw money from that account, you know, as he gets older, whether it be for school books or whether it's this or whether it's that, you know,
Yeah.
that it's just building into it, you know. So there's different policies out there that benefit you that you can pull from and use for different things that, you know, situations happen in your life,
Yeah.
you know.
Good advice. So we look forward to hearing your tips about chores and you know, any kind of way you pay back your kids, whether it's an allowance or just paying per item that you do. Looking forward to hearing some of those ideas from you, and we'll be back next time with another edition of Parenting the Clay Way. I'm John Clay.
I'm Travis McCabe.
All right, thanks again. We'll see you next time.
See ya.